Hey fellow travelers, today we're talking about Disney Cruise Line, and if you have just decided to book yourself or your family a Disney cruise, first of all, congratulations, great choice. We have been on 7 different Disney cruises. We've cruised on all of their current 5 ships, I believe, over the years. So I'm just going to walk you through kind of from start to finish. If it's your first time, what to know, what to do, how to book, what to plan, what to expect, some little tricks that we've learned along the way that aren't maybe obvious to first-time cruisers, and how to budget for such an expensive but wonderful trip, because these trips with Disney are not cheap, but they will be magical. To start at the very, very beginning, why not go ahead and get on the Disney Cruise Line website? And we do everything from our phones these days, and there is a Disney Cruise Line Navigator app, which you can download. It will be your back pocket go-to app for the rest of your trip. But for the initial cruise line choosing and booking and all of the filtering and checking and seeing things, I like to just do it on an actual laptop because I like the larger screen and I feel like I want to see what I'm actually doing. And then once you get everything in place, you can use the Navigator app. And the other thing with that is especially if you are going to spend this much money, highly do not recommend using one of those cheap, El Cheapo Cruise website.com, because if you run into an issue with your cruise along the way, I think you'll be sorry if you try to fix a problem with a Disney cruise and you didn't book it with Disney Cruise Line through their website. So this is where I would leave out the middleman, leave out the travel agent, leave out the cheapcruises.com or whatever. Just go on the website. We're already spending this much. Just pay whatever the little bit extra or the lot extra. If you want a Disney cruise, do it through them. That's my main first piece of advice. The main other thing you're going to need to start with is how to choose, first of all, when to go and where to go. So that and the time and how long are you going to be gone, those are all going to be things that are personal to you. We always go, we come from the west coast of the US, and we always go to Florida, and we cruise out of Port Canaveral, and so we're limited, I guess you could say, but we always do the Caribbean cruises. We always fly into Orlando, which means we always kind of incorporate it into sort of what's called a land and sea vacation, because we'll go to the Disney resorts for 1 or 2 nights before taking the Disney bus out to Port Canaveral. So that's my knowledge base of how to get to the cruise line. But there are so many ports and there's so many ways to get. You can drive yourself there, you can fly in and park your car at an airport or rent a car or get a cab. All of that is going to be dependent on where you're going. And obviously where you're going in the world, also completely up to you. We do the tropical because we're from the north, and so we're always trying to get away from the north in the winter. So weather and all of that will change where you're going. The shoulder season is always going to be the quietest time to go, which is when we like to go, because Lord, the amount of people that are on these boats, the last thing you want to do is go when it's the busiest. So we are lucky enough to be self-employed, so our schedule can absolutely just depend on when we have time to go. And so we watch for the prices, and when the prices come down, there's always a dip. For the Caribbean cruises, there's always a nice price dip that happens right around our anniversary in February. And that's also kind of, you're done with the Christmas break and all the kids have gone back to school and they're not out, and yet no one's out yet for spring break, because you'll see the prices go like that. As soon as you approach that spring break, end of February gap, prices straight up. So we always catch the best price. So it works for us to go in February. The shoulder season for the tropics is also always going to be the spring and fall. Fall, however, I would never do a fall trip to anywhere in the Caribbean because of hurricane season, which I think is from like June to October or whatever. The shoulder season is included in that, and the last thing you want to do is get caught in a hurricane on a cruise ship. Like, no, thank you. So that, to us, that narrows it down to spring, and we want to go when it's cheapest, so that's our gap, and we just do February, Caribbean. So your mileage may vary. You might want to go to Alaska. They go to Europe. They go to the Mediterranean. You can go around England. You can go to Hawaii. And we are going to get on their actual website, and I will just kind of walk you through getting on the website. Make yourself a Disney, username and password. Get an account. And then I'm going to walk you through how to go through all of the details. Pretend I'm booking. You're going to book a cruise with me. Let's go do it. Okay, so we have logged into the Disney Cruise Line website. This is what you will see when you log in. Make sure you have an account, get yourself situated. And I'm going to walk you through you're going to plan a hypothetical cruise with us. So I will always start with, here's your kind of general categories. You can look at more filters here. You can do departing from, sailing to, and leaving on which dates. But you can also filter, if you do this little drop down, you can do, if you want to do the Marvel Day at Sea, if you want to do a holiday trip, any of these you can choose how many nights. I am going to just pick a 7-night. And what ship would you like to sail on? We've done all of them. I would love to do the Treasure, but I don't know that that one will be available for what we would like to do. And here's just, they'll recommend some things. Then I'm going to go back up and do our date. And we always like to leave on our cruises in February, so we're picking next February. Then I go to our port, because we only ever sail out of Port Canaveral, Florida. So we're going to choose that. And then we're going to choose where are we going. And from Port Canaveral, these are your only two choices. So we're going to look at all of the Caribbean options. And here we are with 7-night cruises, and there are 4 of them. And then here you'll see each one and the itinerary. You can also drop down right here and see what's included. Basically everything is included on these cruises. Once you pay your full price before the deadline, which as of right now, the deadline for this one would be early November. So once you've paid that, your entire cruise is paid and all of your food is paid. If you don't drink alcohol or go shopping on the ship, you could take this cruise for 0 more out of pocket except for your airfare and transportation to get to the cruise. So this is completely all-inclusive, except, shouldn't say that, it doesn't include tips. They will expect you to pay tips to your restaurant serving staff and your room, the cleaning staff that takes care of your room, your cabin. And that is about $14.50 per night per passenger. So do the math. If you have a family of 4 times $14.50 times how many nights, you need to have that also ready to pay when you get off the ship, and you can prepay it through the website as well. So we are going to back this up, and I'm going to look at 5- and 6-night cruises because I'm not sure I want to go. I've done both of these ship cruises we've already done. So a 5-night, 7th to 12th is more my favorite date, and this is going to be on the Disney Fantasy. So we're going to take a look and see. This is the one that goes to Nassau and then just to the Castaway Cay and the Lighthouse Point, which is their new island. So we're going to go ahead and select that. That's our favorite dates to cruise, and the prices usually dip right around that time of the year, so it works out really well for us. Okay, this brings us to details about this specific cruise on these dates. So you're looking at the 5-night from Port Canaveral. This is your inside stateroom price. So you're going to choose what kind of stateroom do you want, and you can pay that much, or you could pay almost $20,000 for concierge. It's entirely up to you. Here's what's included and the itinerary. So you can go down and it'll show you things to do and see at each stop that you will be doing. You'll have a full day at sea. And we're going to go to Nassau, which we've seen multiple times, and then on to their new island at Lighthouse Point, which we have never been to. So kind of excited to go do that. This tells you what time you're going ashore and what time to get back on the ship, and that is not negotiable. Do not miss that time. Look up pier runners about people who have been left behind by their ship because they did not get back to the ship. This one is 6 p.m. and I would get back to the ship about 5 to 5:30 just to be safe. And a little side tip, do not count on your phone to tell you what time it is. It may revert back to your time at home. It may do some international wonkiness. When you get off the ship in the morning, look at what time you want to be back to the ship and set an actual timer to go off in that many hours. Just double and triple check, because if you miss the time, they will leave you there, and it is up to you to get to the next port of call to meet back up with the ship or to get yourself home. And that is an expensive, disastrous way to end a vacation. Castaway Cay we've been to multiple times, and then we come back up to Port Canaveral. So we're going to go ahead and look at staterooms, and this is where you can choose whatever works for you. We have done inside staterooms, but we really like the veranda staterooms. I've gotten addicted to those because I love the quiet of our own little veranda just to sit on if I want to read or just chill and enjoy the view. I don't really love sitting on the deck with a lot of people, and there's lots of places to sit, but I just like our own veranda. So here it will take you to confirm your travel party. Once you have selected your travel party and got info put in, we're going to look at which one do we want. You can do interior, and then this one's got the big porthole window. You can do an ocean view if that's all you like. If you want a veranda, you can do this. You can see concierge. They're already sold out on this sailing, which is amazing. They are so expensive. They're like $16,000. So veranda, we always choose this. And you want to choose which one of these. Just look at the prices and then look at what's included. One sleeps one more person and it's a little bit bigger. But for the most part, I like to do the larger ones. We always like to be at the back of the ship for a couple of reasons. I just like the quiet back there. I like to be up kind of right under where you can pop right up to all the dining and things going on above you. I like that there's not a lot going on if you're on deck 8, 9, 10, deck 7. All of the decks above and below you are just going to be other rooms, so you don't need to worry about the noise of, say, a restaurant overhead, dragging chairs around in the morning right above your head while you're sleeping if you sleep in. You don't have to be worried about being above a club late at night. So these are all great decks to be on at the back of the ship. And I especially like to be on a back corner if we can, but they're hard to get. They book up super quick. So I'm just going to look at prices, and you can see they vary. So let's look at the cheapest one, which is going to be deck 10. Why not? So we'll click on deck 10 and see what's left on this level. There is one left, and this is my favorite room on the whole ship right here on this side of this ship. And the reason I like this side of the back of the ship is because when you pull into Castaway Cay, they back the ship in. And this side of the ship on this left side of your screen is the view is going to be just basically the ocean and the undeveloped part of Castaway Cay. This whole right side of the ship, and I'm sorry I don't remember the starboard and port, I think it's port. This whole side will give you the beautiful view of all the landscaped portion of Castaway Cay, the beaches, all the beautiful colorful things. So this would be literally the perfect room for this cruise. So we are going to choose that. It's a category 4E, and it means you have a nice longer, look at this nice big long corner deck. So we are going to go ahead and choose that. It's a queen bed. It tells you what's in it. It has an upper bed that can pull down out of the ceiling, and it will probably also have a couch. Yes, it says convertible couch right there. Split bathroom, which most of them have, which means you get 2 little rooms with a door. One has a sink and a toilet, and one has a sink and a shower. So you can kind of split up and use those 2 spaces when you're getting ready. Here is your full price for 2 people. Like I said, all inclusive. If you don't drink alcohol, you have this plus your tips at $14.50 per person per night that will be added to this. And that would be all inclusive for this trip. And the next thing you're going to do, if you have selected a room as quickly as I just did, add that to your cart. And then here you can see your cart and you can see what you're doing. Double check 5 nights from Port Canaveral. There's the date, there's the ship. Just you can double, triple check. You can add a vacation protection plan if you're one of the people who does that. I do not. We like to just roll by the seat of our pants. So we never do those. There's our stateroom, and then your price summary. This is your total. This is what you would be paying today for this. And let's go ahead and click on the next step, and I will show you just a few more things about how to finish booking this. The next step it will take you to is entering all of your guest information for your entire travel party, including your address and your Castaway Club member if you have it. All of those details will go in on this next screen. Next thing brings you to is the payment screen. So you're going to double check all your details. Just really check. I always double and triple check all of this information. Make sure it's what you wanted. And you've got your category. That's a larger veranda category at the back of the ship. There is your total amount due today with your balance. And here is how I do my budgeting. So when you look at this total right here, after you've paid your deposit, which you would do today if you were booking this, and your final payment is going to be due. So this full remaining balance is due on November 9th. And so what you're going to do is basically count ahead from today. Today is May 1st. So we have May, June, July, August, September, October, 6 months plus maybe a week. So we're going to say 24 weeks. So let's call it 25 weeks to save $3,084.20. Divided by 25 weeks, we are going to be paying $123.37 a week. And I will come back once you have scrolled down, and if you're protecting your cruise with trip insurance or any of that, and later on you can actually add ground transport and things if you want, if you're coming from any of the resorts. But what I will do is come on the website after I have booked all of this and clicked through and ordered. Then next week I will get on my app, which is the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app, which is what you use basically for everything after you have booked your cruise on the computer, and go in there and you will go into the Cruise Line Navigator and scroll down to your cruise, and then scroll down to make a payment, and then you will be able to drop in your payment, and you can pay as little as $20 at a time. So if you skipped your Starbucks this week and you want to add an extra $20, you can just go ahead and log in and pay it along the way. I like to just pay it once a week every Saturday. But that way, by the time you leave for your cruise, it's all paid. You can prepay your tips and really make sure it's all paid. And once you get on, you just get to enjoy the beautiful ship. All right, so we are back on the main page for the cruise line. And here's something to do. I mean, you could do this before you pick a cruise, I guess. But look at, once you have your destination in mind, look at, this is all the places you can go, but you want to go down to the port adventures that you can do when you get off in each of these places, and plan ahead. You do not want to waste time on a cruise getting off the ship and then looking around and wondering what to do in that location. So take advantage of the Disney Cruise Line shore excursions. There's also something to know here. If you are on an excursion that's booked through the cruise line and you are late getting back to the ship, they will make sure you get to the ship. If you are on some Captain Ron adventure that you signed up for when you got off the ship and they get you back late, that ship will leave you on the pier. For safety reasons, it is safest to just travel with the cruise line. So once you know you're going to book port adventures, or if you want to, this will be a large portion of your budget. You can spend nothing, or you can spend as much as you can think of, probably. So you can scroll down and view through port adventures by destination. And since we chose, in our hypothetical cruise, we chose a Bahamas and Caribbean, so we're going to look at what is available in the Bahamas on the stops we're going to be making. And this cruise will be taking us to Nassau in the Bahamas and to Lighthouse Point, which is Disney's new private island. And as you can see, there are 96 results here, and you can sort them by which stop you're making, and there's quite a few. So you want to narrow that down, and you can do it by experience type if you are looking for private adventures, sightseeing, culture, culinary, beach. So you can narrow your choices down. Activity level, in case you have limitations or you want to get, really into like rock climbing or something, and even accessibility. And then you've got price range, and the price can range from, less than $50 to more than $800 per person. So let's just narrow this down. Let's say we're going to look at what there is to do in Nassau. And we're going to say, I don't care about the experience type or the activity level. And there's 41 results. And again, you can spend, there's $200 for Nassau Forts and fish fry. There are Jeep adventures. Atlantis is nice if you want to go do things that have to do with, they have a nice aquarium you can go through, and there's a beach thing over there. And as you can see, some of these are very expensive. That is $249 per person. Dolphin, you can do the dolphin swim. Again, very expensive. Depending on your budget, I would consider that very expensive. If this is anything like the pirate ship adventure that we did once, I would highly not recommend this. And one thing I will point out with shore excursions is do a little bit of research on which one you're choosing and see if you can find reviews, because everyone's on YouTube reviewing everything. Find a review for the adventure you want to take. We did one like this. I can't remember where it was, off Grand Cayman maybe, when the girls were younger, and it was described as a let's see what it says. It was described as a ride on a pirate ship to a beach where you would get off and swim and have lunch. And all of the parents on this trip were looking at each other like, this is not what we signed up for. That looks like the ship. We got on a boat that I think was manned by actual pirates. We made about 3 passes around the Disney cruise ship, and then we anchored out about this far away from a beach. And they gave us a glass of punch and a banana, and that was the food. And we were like, so when do we go swim at the beach? And they were like, you walk the plank if you want to swim. So we put on life jackets and jumped off this ship into the ocean. It was very strange. Like, all the parents were seriously just looking at each other like, this is not what was in the brochure. And the kids were actually upset by these guys on the ship. They were like yelling at them to swab the deck and, making them do piratey things and dumping water on them. And it was very unusual. So do some research. Same thing with the glass bottom boat trip. I didn't know what a glass bottom boat was, and I thought it was a glass bottom boat, but it's a boat with windows in the bottoms. So check some reviews before you do some of these, because you may find that you're disappointed in what you spent. So there you have so much fun to look into all of these different choices and things to do. And you can do as little or as much as you like. I hope this helped you navigate a little bit about how to plan a Disney cruise and get through the booking process. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.